Balls and strikes out of the Texas legislature. Let's get dialed in. Well, good evening, folks, and welcome back to Texas Talkin, the only show in the Lone Star State where we count accomplishments with a calculator and not campaign consultants. Now, today marks the end of the 2025 Texas legislative session, a sacred time when politicians pat themselves on the back so hard they leave bruises. And already, like clockwork, the press releases are flying, the selfies are staged, and the usual suspects are declaring this the most conservative session in Texas legislative history. Repeat after me. The most conservative session in Texas legislative history. They say it every 2 years. It's practically tradition, like hot summers and Dan Crenshaw grandstanding on CNN. But let's take a breath, set down the Kool-Aid, and ask the obvious question. Was it really? Now, let's be fair. There were some wins, some real ones. Red flag laws, banned. That's a major victory for anyone who still reads the Second Amendment without flinching. If you believe in due process and the right to defend your family from criminals or bureaucrats in Beto-branded polos, this one matters. Bail reform, passed. Judges who think setting killers free is somehow compassionate just got a little less dangerous. Maybe now radical jurists will stop treating Harris County like it's San Francisco in drag. No more foreign adversaries like China buying Texas land. Sorry, CCP Gene Wu. Property tax relief. Well, sort of. We're getting a bigger homestead exemption. It's not property tax elimination, but it is a start. It's sort of like patching a leaky boat while the sharks circle. You'll still pay through the nose, but at least one nostril gets to breathe for a minute. And a real favorite, the 10 Commandments are going back up in Texas public school classrooms. Call it symbolic if you want, but symbolism matters, especially when it's a middle finger to the woke mob, sending a loud and clear message that we're a state whose traditions and culture is based in Christian truth. But before you fire the grill up and start singing God Bless Texas, here comes the part where the wheels fall off the wagon. The long-promised ban on taxpayer-funded lobbying. Yeah, gutted in the Senate. Stripped like a used truck in a Houston barrio scrapyard. Special interests live to fight another day on your dime. The Texas grid, still wobbly, still vulnerable, still run like a co-op between toddlers and lobbyists. We'll be talking about that in more depth later with our guest. And here's a doozy. The Texas House banned Democrat chairs and then just handed them vice chair spots with more money. That's not reform. That's a participation trophy with a pay raise. So yes, there was some good, but there was also a healthy serving of fake wins, budget gimmicks, and Republican legislators who make more deals with Democrats than Sonic makes milkshakes. Clearly, folks, we have more work to do, and we have more fake Republican incumbents to replace. The point to remember is this. The legislative session may be over, but primary season is just getting started, and so are we. And making her return to Texas Talkin is the host of Cambry on the Scorecard lineup. She's also an expert on all things Texas politics. I'm talking, of course, about Cambry Nelson, the lovely and talented Cambry Nelson. Cambry, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I love being on your show, actually.
Well, thank you. I love having you on. And I want to get your perspective on what you think were the wins from this year's legislative session. We'll cover the good, then we'll get to the bad and the ugly.
Okay. All right. Well, here's some of the good stuff. And like a lot of people know, I don't have all this stuff memorized, so I can't say everything like off the top of my head because this has been a whirlwind of a
Yes.
legislative. I think we say that every single session. It's a whirlwind. So here's some of the wins. And of course, the session is still going on. So that's what people really have to understand. Actually, today is what the last day.
Today's the last
I
day.
think that they're going to adjourn and they're out of here. So here is the good stuff. I have to put my glasses on because I am old. Here's the good stuff that passed. So I'm going to go over this first. SB 8, and I can give you a little bit of an outline, requires sheriffs to sign on to the 287G program that provides funding, basically to cooperate with ICE. This is very important, especially with President Trump. This is the one thing that he has advocated for. This is something that I've actually advocated for big. SB 12, parental rights to stop DEI and gender ideology in school. But the bill was amended by Jeff Leach. So SB 33, no taxpayer money is going to go to funding abortion travel. That was big. SB 24, teach the reality and evils of communism in Texas public schools. I don't even know why we even have to discuss this. And some of the other ones, I don't get it. HB 4623, eliminate qualified immunity for public school employees. At Texas Scorecard, we have a whole list of bad apples and bad teachers. So
they come out all the time. It's like every day I'm seeing this new list of bad apples, sick people in Texas public schools. It's frightening.
It is frightening. And some of these people are not being held accountable. And like, especially up here in North Dallas, where I am, like Prosper ISD, they cover this stuff up.
That's insane.
Even in Frisco, they're covering some of this stuff up. Oh, that's a whole nother show we could get into. Also, HB 4623, eliminate qualified. Oh, that's public schools. HB 229, what is a woman? That was one. Of course, there's only male and one female.
Amen.
412, stricter prosecution of child porn offenses. That's great. I wish there was like a whole 1 through 4. But Texas land ownership by hostile foreign actors, which that's huge because President Trump has been pushing that for a long time. Texas has should have done this years ago because these guys are buying property next to our military bases right here in the state of Texas. I believe it's completely for surveillance reasons. Also,
so do I, incidentally.
Medical freedom bill. Vaccine manufacturers accountability. I believe this was Shelley Luther's bill, but that one was really big. Ban red flag laws. That's huge, especially when we have a 2A ride. So that's just some of the good ones. Now, I do have some of these stuff that didn't pass, but let me just make this very, very clear because I spoke with a congressman today. Most importantly, the one thing that the voters wanted from the Republican legislature was to start the process, like every single year, to put us on the path to eliminate property taxes. That did not happen.
That's right.
It didn't happen
at
all. So I want to say that. So here's some of the good stuff. Actually, I have to go over this that did not pass because we do have this, the stuff that did not pass. In taxpayer-funded lobbying, require use of E-Verify for illegal aliens, end in-state tuition, no drag queen story hour for public libraries, no furries in schools. That's a problem up here.
I didn't even know what a furry was until relatively recently. I made the mistake of asking, and God forbid somebody told me what it is. And yes, those need to be banned.
There's some schools down there in the outside the Austin area, like in Round Rock, where they were allowing kids to act like cats, and they were eating out of cat bowls. They were hiking their legs. Some were urinating on the floor.
Litter boxes.
They're going to the malls up here dressed up as whatever they identify as, in some of the schools up here. But of course they can arrive at school as their clothes and then they dress up as what type of animal they have. So
they identify as almost like a spirit animal, except these people are serious.
Right. They really are serious. And the parent, not the teacher, the schools are enabling this behavior because they're not stopping it from happening. But requires a proof of citizenship to register to vote. That didn't pass. Constitutional amendment that would deny bail to violent offenders already on bail for something. That didn't pass. Let's talk about Jocelyn Nungare. That would have applied to her. She would have been alive today. If the 2 illegal aliens killed her, they would have been in jail.
Now, didn't they pass some type of bail reform this session? I mentioned that, made mention of that in my monologue. I know they
will pass bail reform. They will water it down. Because remember, here's the thing. They have to say that they passed something. And they will say that this was
the most conservative legislative session in Texas history.
This is exactly what they're going to say because a lot of folks in Texas, they don't pay attention to what is going on. Their constituents aren't aware. They're not aware. So when they say we banned Democrat chairs,
Yeah.
they banned
Yeah,
Democrat
sure.
chairs. They
Technically,
don't
they did.
realize they actually opened up subcommittees, which gave the Democrats more power than banning Democrat chairs. So they're not lying. And actually, it's a tactic that's very, very smart. They're very tactful, but they are playing Washington D politics.
Now, folks, I promise Cambry has not listened to or seen my opening monologue. I say that because a lot of the points that you're raising right now are what I mentioned in the monologue about some of the wins, some of the losses. So I love that we're reading from the same sheet of music.
Right. I mean, no, this is true. It's like we know what they're going to do before they do it. The problem is we have to get the voters caught up. And
Yes.
where we are in Texas, a lot of people in Texas aren't aware really of what is going on, what is happening here. And that is kind of like where we are happening right now. There is other stuff that that has kind of taken place. I went over the other stuff that passed that here's the other stuff that passed where we can be the judge because it's kind of controversial with some other stuff. Really, school choice was controversial in Texas.
Very controversial.
I was kind of one of them because I was under the illusion that it was school choice for all. Like it was all the kids in Texas. I had 5 million. I didn't know it was just for 100,000. So that's kind of a controversial one. Then there's some other ones that did pass. That's very controversial. Additional 8.5 billion to public schools for teacher raises, special programs and increases. There was more attached to that. Hollywood subsidies. We didn't get anything that has to do with property taxes, but Hollywood is getting subsidies and they're getting whatever they want here in the state of Texas to the bill of taxpayer money of $2.5 billion over the amount of several years.
Well, you have to feel really bad for Matt McConaughey. I'm sure his jet is probably not the most recent model year, and he may need a new one. So, you got to sympathize for the guy a little bit. Of course, I'm being sarcastic.
There's one way that I do sympathize with him, and that is because we are Longhorn fans. So so when I see that man like on the football field, I'm like, horns up, let's go, because he's a Longhorn fan, and I think he does love Texas.
I think so too. I think so too.
Texans are concerned because we're footing the bill, number one. Number two, we have the ideology that comes with Hollywood.
Yeah, I don't want to subsidize Hollywood with taxpayer money. I think that was a big flop. And hey, just to clarify, they did raise the homestead exemption this session, right? We just didn't get anything in the form of property tax elimination, which of course is the goal.
Right. And the hard thing about this is because once we get something like this, then it's like they come back in and they do something locally.
Yes. And then the appraisal values change, and it's just this shell game almost that we play. We continue to play.
You're right. It's frustrating because these people don't realize that on school board members in your backyard who don't even take a salary have the ability to raise all of these type of taxes. I mean, to me, when I found that out, I was just absolutely just mind blown. So, I mean, sometimes when they do something here and we all get excited about it, then they get to rah and they get to go online. And then people in the backyard, local, is going to go, hey, we're going to raise this. We're going to do a bond. We're going to do this. And next thing you know, it's tacked on it really is kind of tacked on, it seems like, to your taxes here locally. So it's like, it's offsets. So there's always, when this goes down, this is going to go up. So that's what I seem to find here. At least it's happening up here in North Dallas. It's getting out of control in these little cities up here in this area because they just think that they have unlimited amount of money and they can spend as much of the
our money. Yes.
Money as they actually want, and they do it. But people are getting really smart, and they're finally starting to vote no on a lot of, especially for like an $80 million new football arena or something like that.
Yeah, just what everybody wants and needs.
Yeah,
I agree with you though, Cambry. I think, just to be abundantly clear, the most egregious failure out of this legislative session was failing to provide real property tax relief, eliminating property taxes. I think the people of Texas are so frustrated, so disillusioned by property taxes and the burden that it's putting on them as homeowners and property owners. We've got to take care of this. We've got to figure this out. And I think that's going to be one of the key, if not number one, priority issues in the next Texas State Convention, Republican State Convention, is
I
property tax elimination.
I agree, and this is what we have to do: is we have to rally a whole new set of the Texas legislature. I mean, what was it? We got 24 out the last round. Now we have to get more in it, and a lot of people don't really understand what's happening when it comes to property tax. You can pay off your home, but you don't own the land. You don't own your
Right.
property.
You
You're
rent it from the
basically,
government.
and I learned this really the hard way with friends in the islands and stuff like that. All these amazing, condos on the beach. They paid $2.3 million, had lived there for 30 years.
Wow.
Then the state of Hawaii owns the land, and they were ready out in Kahala, the nicest area of the islands. The state of Hawaii was ready. They were going to demolish it. So people were like,
Unreal.
yes, they were going to demolish all of the properties out there and build a hotel there. So people were like, wait a minute, I own my own home, but I actually don't own the piece of grass that my home is on. So when I came back here, I was like, wait a minute, Texas has property taxes too? Yes, because the government owns the property. So we are slaves to the government.
Yep.
So they own the piece of land. You can own basically the structure, but at the end of the day, they can come in and take what's yours. So it's really not ours. We're renting from the government. People
Exactly
don't
right.
realize that. So it's going to take a force. It's going to take the governor. It's going to take lieutenant governor, put pressure. It's going to take a new speaker. It's going to have to take a conservative speaker. And we're going to have to replace the 36 that voted for Dustin Burrows out.
They should be replaced. They absolutely should be replaced. Something else that practically no one, in fact, no one that I know of, that is talking about. I work in the industrial private sector, all right, and primarily in the oil and gas and power generation space. And we talk about securing the grid. Well, my job requires me occasionally to go to power generation facilities. And what I've noticed upon going to many of these all across the state of Texas, you pull up and there's a guard in a guard shack who might have a pistol, be armed with a pistol. All right. If terrorists wanted to, and this just occurred to me as a result of observation, if terrorists wanted to organize and very carefully orchestrate a timed, planned attack at our power generation facilities to completely annihilate our grid, you take them all out at one time, and we're back in the Stone Age practically in the state of Texas or anywhere else where this happens. I think we need to take a very hard look at a state level, legislative level, on securing whatever resources may be necessary to really beef up the security at these power generation facilities. Because I'm telling you, Cambry, they are very vulnerable right now. What are your thoughts on that?
I couldn't agree with you more on that. With working with some of the local sheriffs in the state of Texas that want to work with DHS more, we have a major problem with terrorists in Texas. I'm not going to lie about it. We have a big problem here. They're here. It's just, when are they going to attack? What are they going to attack? Where are they going to attack? What state are they going to attack? Is it going to be Washington? Is it going to be California? Is it going to be Texas? What people don't really even realize, even in the energy sector, are the big names behind it, especially some of these bills that just recently came out: Vanguard, BlackRock.
Yep.
There's a lot of this. But not only that, let me throw a wrench in all of this: the cartel activity here in the state of Texas, because they want to throw Texas off course as well. The cartel is so big that they're even saying now in the state of Texas, of course, we know they're working with the terrorists, but the cartel and the narco cartel and the underground cartel, this is a whole nother show, is so massive. We need a whole separate department of Homeland Security, specifically to be able to focus and control this type of activity that's going on in conjunction with the FTOs, the foreign terrorist organizations. We are definitely on the radar. Texas has a lot of money. We have a lot of energy. They know we have a weak legislators down in Austin. Right now, they know the Democrats are controlling the House. That's the number one, the best way that they can actually get their foot in the door and Texas be lax and be weak is through our legislation.
Yeah,
And
makes sense.
that's exactly what happened, because right now we have the most liberal, this has been one of the most liberal sessions that we've ever had in the history of Texas. The left, the liberals got their way. They got everything they wanted. And hopefully I get that whole list of every single bill. And I know that's being worked on right now. They got everything that they wanted. But that makes Texas more vulnerable, especially the industry that you're in. It's just a matter of time when, because we know with the Biden administration, they came through. And we
Yes, they
know
did.
They were not vetted. And we know right now that the primary focus right now is illegal aliens, and they're the ones that are being hunted down. But right now, we got to start looking for these terrorists because they are among us. And if you notice who is coming to the state of Texas, who is building these compounds, who is building these epic cities,
Yeah.
who are they tied to? Because I mean, there is a lot more than the state of Texas knows, and I cannot get into it at all. Been briefed on it. Let me tell you guys something. There is more to this than just than a community of people that are from the Middle East. There is more to what's going on. They are tied and they are here. And if you really look at all the churches that they are buying in all of these different cities in rural areas outside
Yes.
of city limits,
It's
they have
alarming. It's
they're
alarming.
executing it. They're executing it right now. Executing it.
That should concern everybody watching this program. As we draw things to a close, there's one final topic I want to ask you about: the Texas Attorney General's race. Of course, Ken Paxton's boots are going to be very big ones to fill. We've had one person already announced. What are the chances you think Mitch Little might throw his hat into the race?
Who?
Mitch Little.
Okay, I've been wanting Mitch Riddle to run. I did all like
You're not the only
I've
one.
been really wanting him to run for the AG. I don't know if he is going to run for the AG at all. Ken Paxton, he as for the polls that we have, he's up in the polls. He's going to beat John Cornyn.
Yes.
There are rumors. There are rumors that might his name Wesley Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
They sit back, let this play, let this play, let this play. And then at the very last minute, he may jump in.
I've heard that as well. I've also heard an interesting theory by Adam Lowy, shameless plug for him, that he thinks that John Cornyn is going to retire early and spare himself the embarrassment of being completely shellacked in this primary. I don't know if John Cornyn's ego will allow him to do that, but I do agree with you. I think if he sticks it out and wants to actually go toes with Ken Paxton, he's going to lose, and he's going to lose big.
Yeah, I think if he does that, I don't think he wants to get out of the race. I really don't think he wants to. I think what they would last ditch effort, if they're like, bro, you're out, they would possibly throw in Wesley. They would get all the Bush money, the establishment money behind Wesley, try to do that and try to bring him in. Because honestly, the state of Texas, yes, the AG, he is so popular. He is so well liked. Grassroots, we love him. We got him. John Cornyn is going to try to come in and get the establishment and get the original GOP back and get him on his side.
Yeah, the Bush cabal, I call it.
The Bush cabal is going to try to come in and they're going to try to take Texas back. That is just what I am hearing, and I'm even hearing that from Washington.
Really?
So, yeah, that's where I got that information. It was not even from Texas. It was actually, I can't even tell you what office it came from, but that came directly from an office in Washington, D.C. So that is the rumor. So we just have to sit back and watch. So I'm hoping that Cornyn gets so decimated in the primaries that really there's just not much. He just doesn't say, but it's going to be a fight. Is going to be a war, and there's going to have to be a lot of money that is raised. So it's going to be mudslinging. It's going to be a fight. So it's going to be a fight till the very, very, very end. This is just the beginning. We haven't even seen the worst of it yet. So,
well, folks, you can find Cambry Nelson on X. I believe her handle is at CamVTV, if I'm not mistaken. I can't believe I remembered that. You can also find her on Facebook and Instagram. Cambry, I want to thank you for taking a few minutes to come on with us tonight and talk about this legislative session. I know that we'll be back in touch in the future. So may God bless you, and may God continue to bless the great state of Texas. Thank you for helping us keep Texas talking.
Thank you. Y'all have a great night.
Stay dialed in to interviews and content just like this by clicking that follow button on my Facebook page, or hit the subscribe button to learn more about exclusive access that you won't want to miss.